Hello, artists. We are going to be making these beautiful foil suns inspired by ancient civilizations, especially the Aztecs, the Incans, and the Mayans. We're going to learn some skills called embossing and debossing to make these really cool sun designs. For thousands of years, artists have chosen to include suns in their artwork across many different styles, many different cultures. A lot of these examples that I printed out are from many different artists across many different time periods. Why do you think so many different cultures, even ancient cultures, focused on the sun in their artworks? Do you think it was important to them? Some of the examples I'm showing you here are from the Mayan, Incan, and Aztec civilizations, which were all over the Americas about 500 to nearly 2,000 years ago. The sun was very important to these civilizations. They told stories about it. There were legends and myths about the sun gods, and it featured heavily in their artwork because the sun is really important to us as humans. While brainstorming what we already know about the sun, someone probably already mentioned that we need it to survive. For this art project, you are going to come up with your own special design honoring our sun. On the next clean page in your sketchbook, you are going to try out a few different designs to decide what you would like to do when we work with the foil. So here are just a few designs that I sketched out playing around. And one thing that you might want to think about is, do you want your sun to have symmetry? That means if you imagine a line right down the middle of your picture, is it going to match on both sides? So in these two examples here, you can see that one has symmetry and the other one is without symmetry. We call that asymmetrical. Another thing to think about is, do you want to include the sun rays? And if so, what are they going to look like? Are they going to be just lines radiating out from the center? Are they going to be shapes of some kind, triangles or like curved shark fin shapes? It's up to you what you want those sun rays to look like. And feel free to look at the idea sheets that have lots of different ideas that other artists have done. After trying out a few sketches in your sketchbook, you're going to grab a square piece of paper. This square is exactly the same size that your foil will be. And that is very important because we'll actually be using this to help trace our design onto the foil. So we want this the sun design on this square to look pretty much perfect. You're going to write your name on there, and on the other side, you're going to start your design. If you really want a perfect circle, I recommend tracing the cups from your bucket that have some art supplies inside. Make sure it's nice and centered, and then you will trace it on your paper to get a perfect circle. Notice that I am working in marker. This is something I would like you to do as well. The reason why I'm working in marker is because when we emboss and deboss in the foil, it works best if we have big, simple shapes. So anything that might be too complicated, like if you draw something with like a really skinny pencil line, it might not show up the way you want it to in the foil. So it's good to kind of work big, have a simple, clear image of your sun. I'm just using simple shapes and lines to fill up my design. I want my sun to have a happy face, so I'm giving it like a big smile with eyes that look like they're closed, but you can also add extra details as well. I just felt like filling up the cheeks with some dots. I decided to do my sun rays in kind of a zigzag pattern all the way around. And I might even want to go back and add some extra lines, especially in those corners. The corners of my square feel a little bit empty, so you might even want to add extra details, like how I'm adding these 3 extra lines in each corner to just make it look like it's extra bright. Now we will be using this piece of paper to trace our design onto our foil, so it's important that you want it to look as good as possible. You can always go get another square of paper in case you do mess up. These are some of the designs I've made in the past. You can see how they all feel a little bit different. Sometimes I use different shapes for my sun rays, different kinds of expressions on the faces. And eventually you can kind of see how some of these are an exact match for some of those examples I showed you earlier. So next week we will lay our design, our paper design on top of our foil, and I'll show you how we will emboss and deboss this design onto the foil. Okay, so you can see how they're an exact match. I'm so excited to see the designs you come up with, and don't forget your name on your paper.